Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, and Dr. Priya Maharbi. My name is Faraze Hector Hlajwayo, and this will be my presentation. When I had my first personal encounter with an under-resourced school in the deep rural areas of KwaZulu-Natal in Guatemala, it made me realize how important technology is and the frustration teachers, consumer studies teachers to be specific, often face in trying to demonstrate some topics from the annual teaching plan using real-life objects and how frustrated learners get in trying to understand those concepts that are being demonstrated. And so that personal experience has made me to develop an interest in teachers' experiences on using technological methods and aims to find solutions that could bring about difference, which then brings me to the title of my research, Integrating Educational Technologies in Consumer Studies within Umlazi District Teachers' Experiences. So now my study is going to focus on the following research questions. The first one, what are teachers' experiences of using educational technologies in consumer studies? And then the next one, why is it important for teachers to integrate educational technologies in consumer studies within Mlazi district? Moving on to the focus and the purpose of my study. So now on the focus, the focus of my study is that it wants to explore the actual experiences of consumer studies teachers in the Umlazi districts with regards to the use of educational technologies into the teaching and learning process. And then on the purpose of the study, my study wants to understand the experiences of consumer studies teachers in Umlazi districts with regards to the use of educational technologies. Moving on to slide number 3 on the literature review. So now my literature review, I've picked 3 points in which I feel are most important, the ones that appear on the screen. So the first point to focus on the literature review is educational technologies in consumer studies. So the subject of consumer studies is especially well suited for technology-enhanced learning since it integrates theory and practice. And so as a subject, it bridges the gap between classroom instruction and real-world experiences by preparing learners for practical life skills while also firmly establishing them into theoretical principles. In theory, what normally happens in theory is that learners are expected to be able to explain concepts comprehensively and apply what they have learned in theory and practice. This integration of theory and practice demonstrate potential in bolstering this dual function, thus equipping learners with practical skills to apply in the world of work. Moving on to the next point, teacher resistance in technological integration. One of the biggest barriers to integration is teacher opposition, as most of you guys may know. So now their resistance may take the shape of contextual issues like issues of insufficient infrastructure and little time for experimenting, affective issues like worry or lack of resources. Hence, it becomes somewhat impossible for most teachers to be able to execute their duties if they do not have enough resources. And moving on to the next point is the point of importance of technology integration in diverse contexts. So in districts like Umlazi, incorporating technology in consumer studies is a subject of equality and inclusion as much as improving academic achievement. So schools are essential in helping to close the gaps that prevents learners in underserved communities from taking advantage of possibilities in the digital economy. So technology can facilitate connections in consumer studies by contextualizing content in ways that are familiar and also reliable. So now that was just the summary of my literature. Moving on to the next slide, slide number 4, the theoretical framework. So now theoretical framework in which I'm be focusing on. So now to offer a comprehensive lens for examining teachers' experiences with technology integration in consumer studies. My study will incorporate the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology and the human capital theory. So the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology provides a more thorough approach by adding elements, including organizational support, conducive conditions, and social impact in the Umlazi districts where contextual factors significantly influences technology integration. The unified theory of acceptance and use of technology is pertinent for this study because it recognizes the significance of leadership support, institutional policies, and infrastructure availability. The next theory is the human capital theory. So the human capital theory offers a more comprehensive socio-economic justification for technology integration, which supports these viewpoints. So according to this notion, spending on education and skill building promotes both individual and society progress. The human capital theory in this study emphasizes the notion that enhancing learners' technical proficiency and teacher digital competency has long-term advantages such as increased productivity, better employability, and wider contributions to social and economic growth. Moving on to slide number 5, the research design. So now the first element to focus on the research design is the paradigm. The study supports interpretivist paradigm, which holds the view that participants, environment, and interactions shape technology, which is socially produced. And then on the methodology, to explore teachers' actual experiences, integrating instructional technologies in consumer studies within Umlazi's districts rather. So now this study will use a qualitative research approach because it enables the researcher to record participants' viewpoints, attitudes, and behaviors in their own words. This approach is especially well suited for comprehending complex social phenomena in context. And then on the participants, my study will utilize purposive sampling to choose participants who can offer deep and pertinent insight into the issues of interest. So now teachers of consumer studies who have a track record of successfully integrating educational technologies into their lessons will be the focus of the study. And then on data collection, the semi-structured interviews which enables participants to describe their experiences in detail while giving the researcher flexibility to handle emerging topics, teachers' experiences, difficulties, and tactics regarding the practical use of technology can be best explored through semi-structured interviews. And then on data analysis, the interview data will be thoroughly analyzed using themes as described by Brown and Clark. And then thematic analysis is suitable for the study because it preserves the diversity of individual experiences while enabling the identification of trends across participants' narratives. And then the last slide, colleagues, of which is slide number 6, the quality, limitation, and ethics. As a researcher, I will ensure that my study is genuine, credible, and meaningful, and that the research is original, addresses true knowledge gaps, and employs valid methods which are free from biases. My study will contribute meaningfully to the society and will guide and nurture others, ensuring again that the data generated leaves a lasting impact. Then ethically, it is my duty to inform all participants on all procedures of the study. They will be informed about the nature, the risks, and benefits of the study, and that they understand what they are agreeing to and give consent without any pressure or coercion. And then the limitations of my study is that my study will only be limited to 5 schools that offers consumer studies within Umlazi district. I thank you, colleagues.